ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. We had seen 503 yesterday. Name pravrittir nachame nivrittihi. There is no pravritti in me, there is no nivritti in me. As long as the Jiva Bhav is there, so long the Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg both will apply. So engaging in action, withdrawing from action. Why is it not there in me? Sadaika Rupasya Niramshakasya. Because I am of the nature of pure existence, which has no boundaries, no form. Ekatmako yo nibido nirantaraha. One pure self is what is my nature, and that is infinite, and that has no, it is unbroken, no parts. Vyomeva Purnaha. Like this space or the sky, there are no parts in it. And my nature is fulfillment. So action is done and withdrawal from action is happening only to attain fulfillment. Whether we do something or we avoid doing something or we don't do something, all the three are because we want happiness. And here somebody has already experienced that supreme happiness. So Purnaha. Sa katham nu cheshtate. Then what is there to strive for such a person? Now, having said that, we move ahead. 504. Punyani papani nirindriyasya nischetaso nirvikriter nirakritehe kuto mama khanda sukhanubhutehe brute yananvagatamittyapi shrutihi. Punyani papani. Punya and papa belong to, they are karma phalas and they belong to the karta. But one who does not have identification with the senses, nirindriyasya, nischetasaha, no identification with the mind, nirvikritehe nirakritehe, in which there is no modification, vikriti, modification, and akriti, form. Where there is no modification, where there is no form, meaning body's identification is not there, sensory identification not there, mind's identification is not there. Kuto mama akhanda sukhanubhutehe. In me, who is an experience of absolute bliss. Brutehi ananva gatamityapi shrutehe. So the scriptures also mention this. What does the scripture say? The quotation is given in the footnote. So, ananvagatam punyena, ananvagatam papena, तीर्णो हि तदा सर्वान् शोकान् हृदयस्य भवति. Brihadaranyaka 4.3.22. So, what does this mean? Untouched, ananvagatehe, by punyena, ananvagatam papena, untouched by sin. Tirno hi tada, that person has gone beyond. Sarvan shokan, all the sorrows. Hridayasya bhavati, all the sorrows of the heart. So ignorance, desire, selfish actions, the knots of the heart are destroyed. So now this is the literal meaning of the mantra. Now what is the deeper meaning here? So here he says this, Punyani papani nirindriyasya. In Bhajagovindam also we have seen that the yogi is described as Rathyacharpata virachita kantah punya punya vivarjita pantha. This person wears clothes stitched out of rags, meaning takes barest minimum from the society. Rathyacharpata virachita kantha. But walks the subtlest path. Punya punya vivarjita pantaha. Beyond punya and papa. So when we do negative karma or when we avoid doing what is our duty, both result in papa. The karma is not actually punya or papa. Punya and papa is the karma phala. But because the karma phala is punya and papa, sometimes people call karma also as punya karma, papa karma. Just like somebody who is studying in the medical college, he's a student, he's still not a doctor. But people already start calling him doctor. So it's like that. Punya karma, papa karma means what? The karma which will lead to punya, the karma which will lead to papa. So dan, if one does, or japa one does, or havan one does, any of the selfless activities one does, they say is punya karma. Papa karma, anything which is prohibited, which harms me, hurts others, papa. So in general, people use it for karma, but actually it is karma phala, punya and papa. And it is adrishta karma phala. It is invisible karma phala. So one doesn't know. That's why Shraddha is required in the Shastra, Shraddha is required in Ishvara, Shraddha is required in the system that Bhagavan has created. That when we do good, good results will come for that karma. You don't think a net banking happens, 40 punya is done and 10 papa is done, so net balance is 30 punya. That doesn't happen. Every single action will produce a response. And the jiva has to go through each one. You cannot escape. So now this punya and papa, we want to avoid papa karma because we don't want to experience sorrow. Papa karma's result will be sorrow. But the strange thing is, we want happiness, we want to avoid sorrow, but we don't want to live papa karma. That is foolish. We want sukha, but we don't want to do good karma or punya karma. We don't want dukkha, but we don't want to live papa karma. How stupid is that? Way of life is very simple. You do punya, good karmas, punya phala will come. Do negative karma, papa phala will come. Punyam icchanti manavaha, papam na tyajanti manavaha. They want the results. Punya karma should come, but papa they won't leave. And shloka goes like that. And they will not do punya karma. What is the means has to be applied for that particular goal. If I want to go to some place, I have to use the appropriate means. I don't want to use that means, but I still want to reach there. How impractical is that? We can apply all that logic in our day-to-day worldly things, but we don't apply that simple logic in the spiritual life, in the activities that I am doing with the mind and with our intentions. So punya and papa are required again for a jiva. That's why the connection is given here. Ki when one has gone beyond the senses, one has gone beyond the mind, one has gone beyond the body identification, then for whom is punya and papa? Doership, as long as it is there, punya and papa will apply. And as long as we are in the realm of this relative realm where we are associated with this doership, I feel I am an ego, I feel I am an individual strongly, punya and papa are important. One cannot ignore them. These two things we do. Either we say, who cares about punya and papa, it doesn't matter at all, I am just going to live my life. We cannot say that. Will you say, who cares about gravity and jump? I don't want to live without this gravity. All the time gravity is pulling us down. I don't care. I go jump. Gravity will still do its job, whether you like it or not. So the idea here is that one cannot just ignore saying there is nothing called punya and papa. Then what are you experiencing right now? How did you get human body? Oh, it's a product of chance. That's all shallow thinking. Human body is a result of punya karma. We saw in the second verse of this. Jantunam narajanma durlabhamata pumstvam tato viprata. Tasmad vaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvam asmat param. Atmanatma vivechanam swanubhavo brahmatmana samsitihi. Muktirno shata janma koti sukrutai punyair vina labhyate. Sukritaihi punyaihi. Sukrita means good karma which results in punya. Dushkrita means bad karma which results in papa. Until one has not done good karmas in human life, because this punya and papa is generated only in human life, not in the life of animals, plants, birds, because the sense of doership is not there. They live by instinct. Nature makes them evolve. Here we have a sense of doership. Choice is there in us. Buddhi is there in us. So punya is very important. Without punya karma, basic things will not happen. Human body, food will not come. Food, water, house, people, relationships, wealth, all that comes because of punya karma. Without punya, it will not happen. And either one says, yeah, I don't care about all these things, or one does the opposite. One wants punya but is not living papa. Both these one cannot do. One cannot ignore, and one cannot apply contrary means. One has to have understanding. That's why Shastra understanding is there, and so much of emphasis is there on living in a certain attitude, doing certain practices, training the mind with certain ways of living, of self-control, because then that helps to purify the mind and control the senses and ensure the body identification is lesser. Then that person is ready, is capable of doing punya also, and more naturally. If body identification is very strong, sense control is not there, mind is impulsive, very tough for that person to do punya karma. That person will keep indulging and will break dharma also, will do anything just to keep this body and the senses and this mind engaged. How many people's lives are going through that or not? So many people know how harmful it is, whether it is alcohol, whether it is non-vegetarian, whether it is cigarette smoking, whether it is drugs. People know it. Effects are seen, documented, science has proved it. But Nothing. No, when the sense control is not there, body identification is high, that the bhuta is there in the head, as though. Hindi they say bhoot savar ho gaya. Some ghost has overridden this person, as though. It's like that. Helplessly drawn to that. Not because really there is some bhoot. That's just a saying. Don't take it literally. Some bhoot has come. No, no. The mind is overpowered by this desire because no sense control. Impulsiveness is so high. Even if the intellect knows this is harmful, the impulsiveness, the emotions, the attachment to the sense pleasure, body, one just goes haywire. So the important point here to understand is this punya and papa, they make a difference to the karta. And as long as I have karta bhav, I must do this very clearly, that stick to sukrita and go away from dushkrita. And don't try to think that, I will challenge the law of karma. Nothing, it is not possible. Now let me see. I am going to do such negative karma and let us see if results come to me. If they don't come, that means all this is nonsense. It is not applicable to me. Okay, try. If you want to try it, try it. And just because result did not come in your expected time frame means nothing. Doesn't mean that results will not come. It will come. And when it comes, then one regrets. So one should do punya. Now, simplest way to understand how to generate more punya. More selfless I am, more punya is generated. More subtler the activity I do, where the ego gets sublimated, more punya is generated. Simple way to understand. When I do my duties regularly, sincerely, selflessly, punya is generated. So punya is not generated just by doing some special activities. Even my duty when I am doing with the bhav of dedication, chitta shuddhi happens, punya karma is also generated. Because I remember Bhagwan and I am doing it. That remembrance itself will give punya karma. And the more I remember with bhavana, more punya karma. And the best part is that jiva wants to do that because one wants to purify the mind. So the punya will be utilized by the jiva for the sake of satsang and for liberation. Otherwise, one can encash that punya for going to heaven, enjoyment, and many other things. And if somebody says, I want both, I want satsang also, I want heaven also, maybe punya karma can help. Depends on how the karta wants to use it. But a mumukshu will start walking the path of punya, papa, varjita much before. The mumukshu tries to say, I am not even the doer, I am zero. Maximum what one can say, I am an instrument. Bhagavan is the karta. So punya also credited to him, papa also debited to him. My account is zero. Jan Dhan Yojana account, zero balance. No balance in my account. All credit debit to Bhagavan. No, Swamiji, then what will happen to my life? Bhagavan's will. Bhakta lives like that. Whatever Bhagavan wills will happen. Constantly remembering Bhagavan. Hanumanji's balance was zero. But he's a Chiranjeevi. And all impossible tasks he can do. We can't think about it also, and he can finish all those. No personal credit, no personal discredit. All debited and credited to Bhagavan. Bhakta lives in remembrance of Bhagavan, and that remembrance and bhakti, love for Bhagavan, is its own fulfillment. It doesn't need anything. For a jnani, it is this. I am Satchidananda Swarupatma, I am a Sakshi, I am not this body, mind, intellect. So what karta bhav, what bhokta bhav, whose, if at all there is some entity functioning, that is consciousness manifesting through this, and I am that consciousness. I am not this small I. So punyani papani nirindriyasya. So on one hand, one should do punya karma by doing work with dedication, selflessness, and do spiritual practices that will also generate punya. Even the Shravan that you are doing will generate punya. If you are doing with what intention one is doing, with what bhav one is doing, it will generate like that. It's not just words falling on the ear that generates punya karma. If this talk is on and you are sitting and cutting some vegetables and making this thing and just listening part time, less punya will be generated. You involve fully intensity, with full intensity, listen carefully, absorb it, and really try to let go of the ego, much more. And see the result of this. What is the result of punya? Now punya itself is a result. Sukrita leads to punya karma. Means karma phala. Sukrita leads to punya karma phala. The result of this punya karma phala is what we just spoke about earlier, that the body, the food, the comforts and enjoyments, all that is a result of punya. That is external. The other aspect of punya is internal. Person is really happy because of punya karma. Punya karma phala. Punya we should say, just punya. Person is really happy because happiness, cheerfulness, pleasant disposition is a result of good karmas and good attitude right now also. Both. So internally one feels happy, cheerful, calm, composed, equanimous. And ego is very less. One doesn't go around boasting, I am a punyatma, these are dushtatma, these are papatmas. Then punya karma is not enough. That papa is making this person say all this. So the result of papa is externally one has challenges. One doesn't have enough, bodily diseases also come, bodily afflictions also happen. There are also certain other limitations in terms of wealth and house and people and relationships, and it will affect everything. And internally this person is disturbed, irritable, angry, not equanimous, very impulsive. Papa leads to such results internally. Ego will be very high. Can't sit in satsang, very restless. And many times one feels opposite, it's all waste of time. Why is one even doing all this? One can't deal with that level of sattva guna. So when we see these things in our life, then we have to understand that these are results of some karma I have only done in the past, and today I have the purushartha to change. No matter what is the past, the free will is there with us that we can change. The objective of punya and papa is not to scare us. The objective of punya and papa is to go away from papa karma, the dushkrita, and come to punya, and then go beyond that also. That's the objective. Here is the student who has done that. So he says, punyani papani nirindriyasya. In deep sleep, where is punya papa for us? There is no karta, there is no punya and papa at all. Even the dream actions don't result in punya and papa. Why? Buddhi is dormant. In waking state, this buddhi is active and this ahankar is fully manifest, and self-awareness is there. So in this state, punya and papa get generated. Waking state alone, it is generated. Now just think about that. In the whole creation, 84 lakh species on earth, sorry, not whole creation. On earth, 84 lakh species. In that 84 lakh species, human species is one. In that, there are 3 states the human beings go through. In that, in one state, waking only, we can generate punya and papa. Sleep also comes because of punya karma, you know that. If punya is not enough, sleep will not come. Mind will be disturbed, restless, can't sleep, you have to take sleeping pill. So the important point is this. In one state, I can generate punya. That also if I have the right attitude. Otherwise, I might keep on creating papa. The dream, what we experience, the deep sleep, what we go through is all result of punya and papa. But in that we don't generate in dream and deep sleep, there is no punya papa generated. In waking, it is generated. So one should be alert while doing karma. Appropriate to one stage of life, roles of life, one's own temperament, keeping the good of people in mind. All these criteria when we apply and then stick to punya karma. And never think this is a bondage and this is binding me and I want to be liberated. It's all wrong notions. These things help to live more righteously so that our life is better. Otherwise, we will have a lot of trouble. So just think one little thing like coronavirus, whose total weight in this whole world will not be now more than some 20 grams when it is outside the body. And that has affected so many people and one is forced to live indoors, whether one likes it or not. It is one virus. Imagine how many papa karmas are there and how many things like that are there in this samsara, which mentally we should be ready to withdraw from all those things. So it is important to have that clarity. Till one comes to this point, here is somebody who can say, I don't care about punya and papa because doership is gone, that person is experiencing absolute bliss. Till one doesn't come to this point, it is impossible to be free from punya and papa. So the only way is leave papa, increase punya. Meaning drop the prohibited actions, selfish actions, do the nitya karma, naimittik karma and kamya karma, transform into nishkama. And prohibited karma, give up completely. And what is prohibited, if I happen to do, then do the prayaschitta for it. Otherwise the tendency will be there to repeat again. So the loss of karma and these types of karma, etc., which the rishis have told us, they are for real. And they have an impact on our life, whether we know it or not. And they have impact on people around us also. That is another aspect of this. The jivas with whom we relate, our karmas are connected. That's why we relate. So each one rubs off their punya and papa on the other. Even in simple terms, we see or not. If I am happy, then I can make others happy. If I am disturbed, I keep making others disturbed. Now those people who come in contact with me because of their prarabdha karma, they will go through all that. How they take it is their purushartha, but because they are connected to me, because of some karma, it will rub off on them. So many times it happens that in a family, there are some family members who are very devout, spiritual, who are doing sadhana, japa, puja, all that. Whether people know it or not, whether they believe it or not, the fact is their sadhana helps the entire family. What could have happened in absence of this, one can't understand that. But because of this, it has an impact on the others. That because this is adrishta, people don't know. Because this effect of this sukrita and dushkrita, which is punya and papa, is not seen. Physically, it is not seen. But if one applies the thinking, one will know this is a result of that. How many grandparents and elders have been following righteous way of living, following sadhana, doing japa, upvas, tapa, all those things. And we may ridicule at some point in saying, this is all old, outdated superstition. But you don't know the result of that is what is sustaining the whole family. In some ways, definitely, each one's karma is there, that I'm not discounting that. But impact is there, and one sees. Sometimes one sees so many unbelievable things that happen in lives of people. One wonders why this happened to them. Because punya was not enough. Momentary decision, impulsive decision, suddenly something happens. People lose their lives because of those things. Lose the business, lose money, lose relationships, many things they lose. Why? Because punya is gone, or papa karma phala is coming now. And sometimes one doesn't know how this happened. Most objective, rational people also will go through this. Some result will be there of the past. So it has both the good ones and the negative ones. The impact is there. We can influence others around us, others can influence us. So if there are some people who are encouraging the people in the family to do good, and who themselves are doing it, one should listen carefully. One should do those things because they have an impact. And initially we may not know what it is. Many people are so-called rationalists. They will say, why should I do when I don't know what is the impact of this? Or you try and you will see. Now that's what is called Shraddha. The faith is to believe, to do, what you don't believe. The result will be, you will see what you believe. The result will come. Experiment it and try it out. You will know yourself. Think about it from even past standpoint. And how did I get this body? What was the result? There has to be some reasoning. It is not impulsively happening. So one has to test all these things out. One has to apply and follow that way of life. Dharmic way of life that is why very important. Whether the world accepts it or not, the world is today we are in a state where we are in a very pathetic condition. In some ways it is very good. The number of spiritual channels which are coming, the satsang options which are there, and the books and the translations and many things are available today which was not available earlier. That is in one way very good. One can use the available means and grow faster and evolve. On the other hand is every single thing which is subtle and which is valuable, which helps us to evolve, that is denounced. What kind of terminologies also people are using today to deride and to degrade and to insult. Such a nice word is bhakt. What people use it for? Bhakt. Samskar is such a nice word. Samskriti comes from samskar. Now what fun people keep making of samskari hai, ye to samskari hai. Arre, what nonsense. And what samskar are you doing? Drinking alcohol, taking drugs. That is big samskar. You have the guts to make mockery of good samskars, and you are indulging in such terrible samskars in the name of being open and liberal. What kind of samskar is that? And our youngsters getting carried away so easily with all that. How did stand-up comedians, some of them, the way they insulted the gods or the Hindu gods, it's a shame. And we Hindus sit and laugh at those jokes and pay money to go and watch these idiots. And if somebody raises an objection, we have the audacity to mock at them, saying, ye log to bhakt log hai. They are Hindu fanatics. It's complete, what we can call, the hidden agendas are so terrific, and we are such gullible people who are buying into all those agendas. Worse than Kalidas. Kalidas was hitting, the branch on which he is sitting. We are hitting ourselves only. Who can be more foolish than that? So these things, when we say punya, papa, they have a big impact. In superficial way of thinking, one should not just dismiss all this. Some stage of life is there when one has not that much of maturity, one rejects and dismisses. But at some point when that wake-up call comes, one will know that these things are real, more real than what we think is real. The currency of this universe is punya and papa, not these euro dollars and this pound and sterling and whatever, rupee and yen and all that. That is here in this jagat, in this earth, bhuloka. And that also changes. Punya papa doesn't change. What really gets us human body is punya, not any amount of money. You can't go and bribe Chitragupta and can't bribe Yamraj and can't bribe Bhagwan who is karma phala data. Underhand, give something underhand and say Bhagwan chalo abhi human life de do. Nothing happens. And Gita Bhagwan says very clearly, Kshipami Ajasran Ashubhan. I throw them into hell, Narake. Go to hell. Literally it is Bhagwan says go to hell. You have done Papa Karma, go to hell. Not out of anger. You literally go to hell. Because you did Papa Karma, now suffer there. So Punya, Papa are very real. One should live in a way where Punya is generated so that one goes beyond. Now here is that student who went beyond. So there is no question of doing anything which results in Punya and Papa now. Because once a person has gone beyond Karta Bhav, we saw already, the three karmas of the Jivan Mukta, how they get destroyed. Sanchit karma destroyed by the fire of knowledge and realization. Agami is actually added to Sanchit. So with that it got destroyed. And whatever could not get destroyed, meaning after Jivan Mukti, when Sanchit is already burnt away, now the karmas that the Jivan Mukta is doing, the Agami karma has no Sanchit to go back to. So that is distributed amongst the critics and the devotees. There also you see how Punya and Papa affects. Tattva Bodh says so clearly there. The Punya generated by the Jivan Mukta will go to the devotees. The Papa goes to the critics. Not because the Jivan Mukta sense of doership that Punya and Papa comes. The result, the Punya and Papa, Adrishta Samskara will not be there. Because Karta Bhav is not there. But the external effect will be there or not. That external effect will go to those people. But Jivan Mukta is not interested. No Karta Bhav. Karma still happened. Badhita Ahankar is there, so karma happened. So it will generate a Punya and Papa impression. But the Karta is zero, is not here. So who will take the thing? Devotees and the critics. And Prarabdha Karma, so one is anyway exhausting it. Body, mind, intellect is exhausting. So all the three karmas are gone. So the Jivan Mukta doesn't get affected. So all this, what one should do, what one should not do is called Vidhi and Nishedh. The Shastra is given to us for Vidhi and Nishedh. Like we see, in any equipment that you buy, the manual comes. And that manual has written all these things, what temperature you should keep this equipment, what you should do, what you should not do, how to operate, what volt of electricity is required, everything is written in that. Do's and don'ts are given clearly. Same way Shastra is the do's and don'ts for our mind. And Vidhi means what you should follow. And Nishedha means what one should not do. That is very clearly given in the Shastra so that we live according to that and we don't have to do our invention and find out and figure out here why these things are happening to me. In the world today, people keep thinking that why this happened to me, because they have not studied the Shastra. They don't know that some Papa Karma must have happened, some Punya Karma must have happened. That's why these things are happening. One cannot avoid. Our ancestors, forefathers were in that sense much more intelligent. Because they studied the Shastra, they understood. We may mock at them, we may make fun of them saying that what these people think like that, If you got any blessing, it is because of punya, and if you are suffering, because of papa. It's nothing like that. There is a physical cost to it. This is a result of this, so-called scientific and logical. Are why you only went through that? Why not somebody else? No answer for it. Why? Because you can't explain everything at the gross level. So many people are going through COVID. So many are not. Those who are going through, some are dying, some are recovering. Why is that happening? You may say physically, or some comorbidities are there, now not there, immunity power is more, immunity power is less. But you are seeing it only from a small window. That immunity power of that person is more or less, or comorbidity is there or not there, is a result of the entire evolution of that person. Why? That we are not seeing. We are trying to see the individual isolated from the complete view. Every single moment we are a product of our past, full past, not just this life. Entire past, I am a product of that at this moment. In that totality, when we see, Punya and Papa have a big role to play. But we don't see that in that way. So what happens to us? We keep wondering why this happened to me. I did everything. I did yoga also, and I drank every day that kadha that is made, and then I, ensured that I don't take some cool drinks, and I sanitized, and I washed my hands every few hours, and still, I wore mask and everything I did. Still, I got corona. What is the use of all this? That's because I am seeing it in one small window. What all karmas are done, what is the result one has to go through, it will come. Accordingly only it will come. Our ancestors used to say that only. And that's why they will do some uh, good actions in the name of that person, so that that person has more strength to deal with it. And sometimes one invokes the grace of the Lord also and prays very fervently, please destroy this papa karma, please save this person. One can pray for oneself also. Bhagwan's kripa can help. Like the presidential pardon can help, no? The person who has been given death sentence, they ask, mercy petition is put. President will evaluate and then say yes, no. Same way you put the mercy petition, Bhagwan feels and he can do that. But otherwise one has to go through. So then do punya to help that person. And I told you already, it will, the karmic connections are such that we will get influenced by other people's karma also. So it will have its impact. So this punya and papa is very important for a spiritual seeker. What generates punya, what generates papa, one should be alert and live according to that. Our shastras are very flexible, very adaptable also. Principles remaining the same in present context, how to adapt, how to apply is what the beauty of our scriptures is. So they give us the principles. This will lead to this. Now you apply to your context. They will give some examples of their context. Sometimes those contexts have changed. But because they have given us the principle, we can apply that in our context. If they had not given principle, it's only incidents, then we are stuck. Then we become fanatic. Our culture doesn't do that because the principles are given very clearly. These are the principles of spiritual life. Now you follow this and you will see the result. So here is somebody who has gone beyond and hence does not have this punya and papa, no identification with the BMI, and one is akhanda sukha anubhuti. There is an experience of unbroken bliss. Chayaya sprishtamushnam va shitam va sushtu dushtu va nasprashatyeva yat kinchit purusham tadvilakshanam. This example has come earlier also, so I am not going to elaborate on this. This is a shadow example. Chayaya, that's a shadow. Sprashtam, Ushnam va, Shitam va. So if this shadow is affected by heat or cold, sushtu dushtu, good or evil, na sprishatyeva, it does not in the least affect the human being. The person is not affected by what the shadow is going through. Na sprishatyeva yat kinchit, not even the least. Purusham tadvilakshanam, because the person is different from the shadow. This is the detachment that this person has come to, not as a sadhana now it is an experience. Earlier the example came as a sadhana. Here you experience, one knows clearly I am not this shadow at all. There earlier one was trying to detach from the ego. Now one knows nothing happens to me, I am completely different and I am Brahman. What heat, cold, pleasure, pain, they exist because of me. I don't exist because of them. One realizes that absolutely. So tad vilakshana. न साक्षिणं साक्ष्यधर्माः संस्पृशन्ति विलक्षणम् अविकारमुदासीनं गृहधर्मा प्रदीपवत् साक्ष्यधर्माः साक्षिणं न संस्पृशन्ति. Whatever is being witnessed will never affect the witness. What we saw earlier, superimposition does not affect the substratum. Similarly, witnessed does not affect the witness. Sakshya dharmaha sakshinam sprishanti na. Why vilakshanam? Because sakshi is vilakshana. Avikaram udasinam, because sakshi is changeless. What is being witnessed has changes. So world of objects, emotions and thoughts change. But the witness is the same. The BMI changes, witness is the same. Witness observes the changes in the BMI, but it doesn't change because the meaning of witness is uninvolved, unaffected observer. That is called a witness. Sakshi. Aksha means to see. So avikaram, no change in that witness. Like the light can illumine so many things, but light is not affected by any of the things that it illumines. So avikaram. Udasinam. Udasina means not sad, lazy. Udasina means either indifference or it means, sitting above. Udasinam. Udasinam means that. As the self is the highest, subtlest. Everything else is affected, everything else is gross, below it. And this self remains untouched because there is no, Gurudev used to use this very nice expression, relationless relationship. So there is a relationship. From what standpoint? That there is an illumination happening which is enlivening the body, mind, intellect, then they are able to function. But there is no relationship because there is no connection only. Illumination of this BMI is not like how, we give example generally of electricity is illumining the bulb. So there is a physical contact. That has a limitation. There is no such physical contact of the self with the body or with the mind or the intellect. Like the sun reflecting in these buckets of water, there is no physical contact. So anything happening to the bucket or to the water or to the reflection, nothing happens to the sun. It just is. In its presence, things happen. If you put a bucket, reflection is there. If your bucket is not there, reflection is not there. Sun is there. It's like that. The BMI is like that bucket and the water. So Udasinam, it remains completely aloof. So when we lift ourselves to that higher level and we say, I am that consciousness which is existing independent of the BMI. BMI exists because of me. I am not existing because of BMI. That is called Utasina. Uta means up. So avikaram udasinam. Up doesn't mean somewhere up. Up means the subtlety of thinking. Avikaram udasinam. Griha dharma pradipavat. So the example given here is the lamp, pradeep. So this lamp, when it is lit, it will light up, it will illumine the things in the room, but the things in the room doesn't affect this lamp, the light of this lamp. You may say, no, Swamiji, it affects, when we put on the fan, then light cannot be there. That's limitation of example, Baba. We are not talking about those factors. We are saying that if the room if it is a bedroom, the lamp will illumine what is there in the bedroom. There is a cot, there is a cupboard, there is a mirror, all that it will. You put that in the puja room, it will illumine Bhagwan's murtis. You put it in the kitchen, it will illumine the whole kitchen. It doesn't get affected by what is there inside that room. Because its job is just to illumine. It doesn't have any connection to what it is illuminating. It's very interesting it is. We have no connection to the BMI, actually speaking. Our nature is pure consciousness. And today it has become ulta. We have no connection as though with the consciousness, and BMI is everything. How? There's a Maya. So Griha Dharma Pradipavat, just like this body, just like this lamp, has no connection. Similar example is there in the next one also. Raver Yatha, yes, tune is different. Raver Yatha Karmani Sakshi Bhavaha Vanher Yatha Daha Niyamakatvam Rajyor Yatha Ropita Vastu Sangaha Tathaiva Kutastha Chidatmano Me. Raver Yatha Karmani Sakshi Bhavaha. Just like the sun, in its presence, everybody becomes dynamic. It doesn't do anything to make people dynamic. So the sun, Suryo Yatha Sarva Lokasya Chakshuhu, it is said. The sun is the eye of the whole world. Meaning, the sun energizes, illumines, makes people dynamic by its presence. Raver Yatha Karmani Sakshi Bhavaha. And the sun is a witness of all these actions. It doesn't get involved, it doesn't get affected. Vanher Yatha Daha Niyamakatvam. And just like this fire, now this is another example, not the sun now. The fire burns, whatever you put in the fire, it will burn. It doesn't have any distinction that, oh, this is good or this is not good, this I should keep for myself, this I should not burn, that I should burn. Anything is put inside, it will burn. No difference it has. Same, samabhav. Vanher Yatha Daha Niyamakatvam. Then Rajyor Yatha Aropita Vastu Sangha. Now the rope is connected to the superimposition. What is the connection? No connection. The rope is only appearing as a superimposition. In the fire example also it is similar. Whatever is put in the fire, fire will burn it away. Fire doesn't get affected by what is put into the fire. Unless you put water on the fire, then fire is exhausted. That is a different matter. But when we put into the fire to burn something, it doesn't affect the fire at all. It will burn. If you add petrol, it will increase. If you put water, it will go away. If you put things into fire, it will burn completely and become ashes. Fire by itself remains untouched. Just like the sun remains untouched, the fire remains untouched, and the rope remains untouched. The superimposition cannot affect the substratum. Tathaiva kutastha chidatmano me. In that way, my nature is that pure Chaitanya Swarup Atma. Meaning, I am that unaffected, pure consciousness. That is the realization of this student. We may use this as a sadhana for us, that how much can I remain unaffected? Not at the mental level alone. Mental level, definitely equanimity is important to remain unaffected by the pairs of opposites in the world. so that I can detach from the mind also and realize that I am pure consciousness, which has nothing to do with the BMI, nothing to do with the world also. Without its presence, nothing will function here, but it has nothing to do with it. Consciousness has nothing to do with it. So that is the state. So for today, we will stop here. Any questions, anything you want to ask or share, you are welcome.
Namaste, Swamiji. We are constantly talking about Chitta Shuddhi. I mean, it seems to be the thing to do, at least at our level. So, what exactly is the Chitta and what are you making Shuddha?
Chitta is a collection of impressions, samskaras, vasanas. And identification is there. Man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar is a sukshma sharir. So mind has impulsive emotions, intellect has false values as of now, memory has a lot of things which either create a desire or they create fear. For positive pleasant things it creates desire, for negative or harmful things it creates fear, and ahankar is very strong. So when we say chitta shuddhi, has to be purified, no? Ahankar has to go down. Memories, we should be freed from the trap of memories. Impulsiveness and the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, they have to be reduced. And then the buddhi has to have the clarity of knowledge. That is called chitta shuddhi. So all the sadhanas are meant for that. Swadhyaya and sadhana, spiritual practices, upvas, japa, tapa, yajna, dana, havan, all those are meant to purify the mind and to put more positive samskars in the mind, as well as to drop the ego. That is called chitta shuddhi.
Okay, thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.